Hey, it's John from White Light Paranormal. You know, one of the most common issues with the Panabox and the DR60 has to do with this dial in the top right corner. Now, if you've got a faulty dial, you'll know it because when you rotate that dial, nothing will happen in the display screen, or you have to rotate it quite a few times for anything to change at all. So if you've got one of these faulty units, don't throw it out because I'm going to show you an easy fix. One of the most common issues with both the Panasonic DR60 and the Panabox is this dial that my thumb is touching. Now, it's not so much pushing in the dial, it's rotating it up and down. Now, when it's working correctly, these digits in the display screen will change. But sometimes, with some units, you go to rotate this dial and nothing happens, or you have to rotate it many, many times to get something to happen in this display screen. Now, fortunately, there's a very simple fix. However, if this fix doesn't work, you're going to have to take it to an electronics expert and see if they can fix it. But you could try this first. So all you need is two things. You're going to need a jeweler's screwdriver. Now, this is a Phillips number 0, and it's a jeweler's screwdriver. You're going to need this, or you're never going to get the screws out. They're really, really small. The other thing you're going to need is some WD-40 contact cleaner. Now, you don't want to use the regular cleaner because it'll leave a film on the circuit board. This stuff's alcohol based and it's meant for circuit boards. So I prefer you use this, but if all you have is the WD-40, I've used it before and it does work, but it's not really meant for this purpose. So what do we do? So I'm going to show you how to repair this using a Panabox, but keep in mind you can use the exact same procedure with the DR60. First thing you're going to do is you're going to turn it over. You're going to take off this back cover. You're going to remove the batteries, and then you're going to take out the 3 screws with your little screwdriver. There's one here, and there's one here, and there's one here. Then with a tiny little screwdriver, there's a little notch underneath. You're going to pry that back and forth until this thing snaps open, and very carefully remove the black from the silver. Do a little at a time, and it'll come off. Okay, so I've removed the 3 screws and they're very small. And I've used a small flathead screwdriver in the little notch, and I've twisted it back and forth, cracked it open a little bit, and then very carefully separated the 2 halves. Now in this half, you can see the green circuit board. The next thing we want to do is use that same Phillips screwdriver and remove 1 screw here and 1 screw here. So I've removed those 2 small little screws. And what I want to do next is I want to unplug the speaker wire. Now there's a little white box underneath my finger and there's a wire. You want to just pull that straight out. And then the next thing we want to do is very carefully with the small flathead screwdriver is you want to pry up, just be very careful. You want to pry up this circuit board. It should pop off. Okay, so you've got your circuit board and you've got your WD-40 contact cleaner. Just tip that circuit board down so the dial is near the paper towel. And then you want to spray, you want to get that hose just underneath the dial and you want to spray repeatedly. And this particular circuit board was working fine. I had no problems with the dial, but when you have a problem, you're going to see lots of black crud and lots of, I don't know, it could be like dirt and whatever come out on your paper towel, and that will show you that yes, indeed, you did have an issue underneath there. It was gumming up the works and you just couldn't get proper contact. Now what I like to do next is I like to get some clean compressed air and I like to blow that out very carefully. Just get all that WD-40 out there, and then I like to let it sit for a while and dry. And then I like to put the unit back together. Just remember to rehook up that speaker wire back in this box, and remember to put the 2 screws back in, and then remember to put those 3 little screws back in the spots there. The other thing is when you're putting this back together, there's a bunch of switches, and you got to make sure, you got to look for the little switches on the circuit board. And this will be the last piece to go on. But you're going to want to make sure if this is down, you're going to want to make sure that switch is down. Just like on the top, there's a switch that goes right to left. Make sure that that switch on the circuit board matches before you put it on. Otherwise, you've got to take it off and do it all over again. When you push these two together, make sure you put in the 3 screws, turn on the unit and try it. And you know what? I think there's a very good chance that your unit will work just like brand new. And if it doesn't, again, you're going to probably have to go see somebody who knows a lot about electronics to try and fix that. And one last thing I'd like to say is, whenever you're playing around the switch, whenever you're trying to do a repair, this dial, I should say, be very careful. These things can break easily, so be very gentle with them. Anyway, good luck and hope it works for you. Okay, so I just got this unit sent to me, this DR60, and the problem with this unit is you go to spin the dial and it's not changing between the file numbers. See how it says 35? That should be going down 34, 33, 32, 31. Not working, so we're gonna fix it. I'm gonna spray it underneath this wheel here and just give it a good cleaning. I'm gonna hold it so the wheel is down so I don't get WR60 on the rest of the circuit board. But probably see a bunch of muck start coming out. Yeah, see that dark crap coming out? Just trying to clean the contacts. Of course, I don't want to use this right away. I want to let it sit. I want to dry it out. I want it to air dry. But I'll give it another spray in there. Okay, so I've cleaned the unit up. I've cleaned the dial, replaced the corroded battery terminal. That's the old one. Let's get rid of that. I kind of tricked it out a little bit. I put a red power button on top. They all have black. I just switched it out for kind of fun. And let's do a test to see if this thing's working. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Now for the moment of truth. Hopefully when I spin this dial, the file numbers will decrease from 36 to 35 to 34. That's what it was not doing before. Are you ready? Here we go. Yep, it's working. So that's just a good little fix you can do if you ever have an issue with your DR60.